Hey, well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dream Labs. Dr. Contrast here. Hope you had a great week. Looking forward to some things here today that they kind of switch gears just a little bit. Last go around, we went through some things with speed form studies, getting a little more complicated. And I thought it'd be kind of a nice change of pace here today to kind of turn things around and go a little bit inside out. And something that I do very often on a weekly basis, oftentimes on a daily basis, is just go through a whole series of really quick, rapid thumbnail sketches on just developing shapes and forms and just sketches. And I think the key thing about this whole process today is to go back and just go to some basic thinking about um, using the five geometric solids as a base to work with, and how to begin to break those forms up to develop newness, shape, and develop our skill set and begin to see certain things from a point of view of just developing certain forms. So the whole premise today is going to go right back to just basic sketches using some volumetric work, just breaking into it and creating not necessarily a product line so much, but for me, it's an exploratory time to just take a minute and go back a little bit and not concentrate on a given product or an element or an idea, but just take the concept of volumetrics and break it all down and break the shapes up and change the modulus a little bit to kind of move into some new areas. And I think the really good bright side about that process is this. When you go through these exercises, so you keep them on file like I do, for example, I finish them, I store them, and keep them on file. And when things come along, for example, when a job or a process or a project comes along, you can go back to that file and utilize some of those sketches to either facelift or enhance or modulate in some way to kind of get you started. So anyway, let's get started here. We'll just go through some very quick exercises. Nothing really fancy, just ballpoint pen, just the basic sketches. Let's go right back into spherical forms. But they're a difficult surface to deal with because you've got a round form, zero reference area. So what do you do with it? What I always do is come right back and cut through the center and the shape itself and develop the shape out of that. Draw through it, come back over here, pick that up, and then again, cut back into it. Maybe it's a case of just step back a little bit, do this. Again, it's simple volumetrics, put a little bit of form to it, a little bit of tone. And again, since the light source over here, start to drop in some shape. And let it go at that. Just very simple little forms here. Just kind of bring it all together. There's a sketch one. You go back in again and look at the same process. You go back and maybe a little bit larger here. Just going to go back and do this. Same spherical shape. Go back in again, add another one to it. Now it's become cylindrical. Back the dots just a bit. Back into this. And do the same thing. Come back into that little bit of a facelift here. Take that on through. Again, notice real melodic sketches. Nothing really concentrated in terms of being finessed or formal and so forth. Just good, simple, old-fashioned geometric shapes here. Walking through it, and again, maybe just come back and maybe finish it and run that through over here. Change the surface again. Drop that in. Drop something into this. Put a little bit of that into it, and again, just some real subtle little changes of face as far as sketch is concerned. Go back and look at the volume here. A little bit of tone in this. Varied, etc. I mean, look how simple that is, but yet you're describing shape and volume, and I think that's part of the process of getting those volumetrics down. And when you do that, what we're really saying is this whole form is now coming in the case of this guy, it's that circle to that circle and breaking it down. And again, this surface to that surface. Again, if you were to break it through, it's that shape to that shape that comes along in here. Comes along in sections, comes down and drops over, comes down and drops over. You're actually analyzing shape and surface inside the volumes you're dealing with in these very simple exercises. So you come back in again, maybe just a pure spherical form here. Come back in and do the same thing and draw through it and come back in and pick up maybe another area where you actually break it into here. Then you take this shape out here and add a graph to it. Add another wing coming off of that guy. A little bit of tone underneath here. That. Again, the same thing on this guy. Maybe this, now we go back inside again and create this. Lens of some sort. Put a shadow on this guy. A little bit of breakup up on top, just to kind of break the form down. Just looking at different geometric surfaces to deal with here. Very simple, very melodic. Again, let's go back through again. we would cut the thing right off and come through the center line here. Got an element off of that. Take this forward. Bring it back in. Same thing with this. Maybe that goes rearward. And surface to it. You know, it's very simple shapes, but they've got a character, like a melody about them, and it's kind of neat. So you take that same module, for example, that same sphere, you come back in again and say, okay, what if we did this? Come forward off of this thing, off the tangent. This. That. Put to it. More crown on this side here. To the center line. Across here and just break it up. Bit of tone added. Put surface work in here. More definition. That flat, and there it is. Again, just a various form. Starting from a sphere and just adding form and shape to it as we go through the line here. Let's going to bring this downhill just a bit. Go back in again. Change the modulus, a little bit of this, and go back in and draw through it, and draw through it. And come back in and pick maybe a body line down through here. Open that up just a bit. Put a surface in this thing. That, and then come back up on top and cut into it. Line geometry here to kind of run through the shape, and it tells us what it's doing. And underneath, what happens if we stand that up? Break that up just a bit. Shape in through this. Oh, just gotta move this over. There we go. Got it. Again, a little bit of tone underneath. There it is. Highlights in here. Or return of some sort, opening the lid of some sort, just a little detail. Just adding shape and surfaces to these sketches. Looking for ideas of putting together some ideation in terms of breaking down the form, adding to the graft, and cutting back in to make the shapes and so all the things, elements of some interest. So there's the first one we'll do here. We'll just kind of move along. That's that. So I'm going to set one. We'll come back through these and just we'll review them as we go through them from plate to plate. So the second series we do with this, just go back in simple elevation. What happens if we do this? And pick up a center line and just break it through the sweep. Drop that in. Break that same distance out here. Bring that over. In the center line again. And again, just come back in and break this up. Again, on the top, bit of surface work to define it. Back towards center line and reduce it. Bit of recess, and sketch completed. And just really loose. Very simple, quick little form studies. There it is in elevation. Back in now. Maybe we do a little bit of this now. Let's go back in and do this following here. Again, just breaking up the shape, visual interest to it. There's a second little study, just a little thumbnail sketches to kind of put some interest back in this guy. Let's go back in again and net nature. So break this down just a little bit, kind of go through this and draw through it. Okay, very melodic in here. And coming back in. Again, just adding elements to it. Just picking the form into some sort of an object, just form studies, just sketches. Getting some dexterity down, putting some surface together, kind of keep it nice and lucid. And there it is, just a whole family of little forms like this. To me, a lot of fun all the time. I take some time often to just do sketches like this that make a huge difference. Come back in and makes it, it helps you kind of open up the vocabulary quite a bit, and you're not really stuck to certain favorite forms all the time. You're always exploring certain things and moving things through the spectrum. So it's been a lot of fun. So let's go back in through here. Simple shapes. Let's get back in shape here. There we are. Recess work here. Stand. And there's another family of forms, just a simple little sketches here, just drawings in terms of loosening up the ideology frame, using some of the volumetric studies we've talked about in the past, putting all these pieces together for us to build some shape recognition and some new shapes and new forms. Let me sign this guy. Look at this move along here. This is the second little plate we've worked with here. There's 1 and 2. Interesting things taking place here. Again, just to loosen things up and keep things active in terms of seeing different envelopes and different ways to approach problem solving. But oftentimes we get caught into the rut of maybe doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm not accusing anybody of that at all. I'm just saying we have a tendency to do that quite often. So if we go back and do some very simple things and just keep the sketches very active and alive, it makes a huge difference. So let's kind of move along here. It's going to go back. Just really fast, little quick gesture sketches, thumbnails. Really makes a huge difference here. Let's break this thing up. This guy to come in here. Write this thing. Drop that on through. And again. And just a neat little thumbnail sketch. I don't know what it is product wise, but again, study form. Let's stretch it out a little bit. Let's go a bit longer with this thing now. Form just a bit. Oh, there we go. Again, simple little sketches. Kind of change the format a little bit here. Keep things moving. Let's go back in again here. Some rounds, some spheres of some sort. And just again, real quick thumbnail sketches. There we are. Got going here. Just again, little product sketches, just little thumbnails again, loosening things up a bit, touching base here. Back in place here, there we are. Again, a little elevation study. Mhm. There we are. Bring this down a little bit. Shape the reed just a little bit more. This gully in here. Again, the little thumbnail sketches as we go here. Go back in and look at this guy again here. here. Just ways to break up the shape. There it is. Little quick little thumbnail sketches. Nothing fancy. Just looking at exploring what the solids are doing, what the forms might be doing, keeping things organized. From getting all that squared away here. Here we go. And as I stated earlier before we started the stream here, it's really interesting to me how I'll do this quite often on a weekly basis. Just go through the exploratory set of developing sketches, looking at ideas, putting volumes down and breaking up the forms and getting into certain areas where what do we do with these shapes? How do we break them up to keep them more productive and in time to come, maybe utilize them in some other projects that we're dealing with down the line here. But the primary thing is really focus in on what's taking place from the point of view of just doing some neat stuff with just exploratory shape, nothing more, nothing less. Let's keep going here for a little more sessions here. We'll just kind of keep them running. Here, platform set, come back up. Do this thing, find where my center line is. Come up. Come up. Let's see, we kind of clean the nib up a bit here. So maybe I'm losing juice. I don't know. Something's caught here. We can kind of switch gears here. What this is doing here, I hope. Nope, that's not it. Yeah. Switch gears here for a minute. That's odd. It's been really trustworthy, and all of a sudden it's just running out of juice here. Just nope, that's not going to do it. So let's just kind of regroup here and find if we can get to work with it. Change gears here. Sorry for the interruption. We'll get this back into speed here. Make sure this guy's running all right. There we are. Spare. There we are. Back at it here. Just a simple little quick sketch here, just a little tapped up run this thing. Oh, there we go. Back in screen. There we are. Back in place here. Again, just simple little form shapes studies. Just effective getting forms shaped down, looking at elements that might be of some value, for example. Just neat stuff to deal with here. So through that, find the references here. I got it there. Very cool. Another little thumbnail sketch. Just yes. Hey, how you doing there, Carson? How you doing? Hey, Carsonian. Hey, good to see you. Good looking good, Doc. Hey, good to see you. Thanks very much, Carsonian. Hey, Shadowkin. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Yep, we're doing good. Rocket powered shavers. Don't I wish? We went through the whole exercise here. I don't know if you saw it or not, Carsonian. Just going through a whole just sketches, looking at basic shape and form development. Nothing really fancy. Just looking at ideation, going through the idea of working with. Hey, how you doing, Shadow? Just working with basic volumetric studies and putting form together and just putting a shape down and breaking it up to see if we can kind of get it all put together again. And just very, very subtle things of that nature. Let's go back in here. I'll go back just for in a moment here, Carson, and do a little bit of a review for you here so I can see what you maybe didn't pick up here initially. Very simple. Page here, there we go. Really easy. More line weight on these guys. And again, a bit of contour work here. Just a little section study on top of that. Just a simple little form. There it is. How have you been, Carsonian? It's good to have you on board again, man. Thank you for taking time. It's great, great, great. So far, so good. Let me take a moment here and go back and review some of these sketches. Let me sign this guy first here. Started out with a very simple palette. Let's go from 1 to 2 to 3. Kind of bring up the speed here, Carsonian. Hopefully this will help you. I just want to go back through down the lineup here. Just kind of get this all started with a simple series of sketches like this. Again, the whole premise today was to look at just very simple form studies, just sketches and looking at ideas. Working with the basic solids, grafting things on, cutting back into it, adding to it, taking away from it. Nothing really product mind related, just ideation sketches. This is plate 1. Spherical forms and some ovoids. There's one. Going into phase 2, taking the same set of circumstances, just looking at ballpoint pen sketches, just very quick, very rapid. That's that. And then we went into this guy where we just took a little bit of time to say, okay, let's do one more little pass here, doing more of a more cubistic or rectangular shapes and breaking them down and putting more organic work into it, breaking those forms up and just looking at potential shape development. And I think what I said earlier and before I started was it's a very valuable. I use this tool often. Sometimes I'll just back away from all the illustration work or design concept work for car stuff, product design, interior space, or architecture. I'll just do a series of real quick sketches like this, and just really fast little form studies to kind of keep things fresh and keep the vocabulary open for new things coming on board. So then that's I did this guy, and the last one you just saw here was this plate. My pen ran out of juice, so I had to go back into a blue system here, but there we are. What do you think, Carson? Are you still with us? Hope this is working well for you. Cool stuff. So good to have you back on board again. And by the way, how have you been? Hopefully staying busy. Very cool. Wait for a moment, have a response. We've got it. See what happens. Very cool. I'm still with you. Hey, this is, yeah, well, good for you, Carson. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just very interesting gestures. And again, I like to change gears quite a bit, doing some very different things from time to time and not fall in love with any one particular given pattern, but changing the format quite a bit makes a huge difference. Let's try one more series here, and for what it's worth, I might just kind of switch gears and go to a red pen since this guy's running pretty nicely here. What if you took all that volumetric and said, okay, yeah, let's see, I'm doing well. I've been very busy with work, so I've missed the past. Not a problem, Carsonian. It's good to have you back on board. I hope all is well with you and your family. That's good stuff. Good to have you on board today. So I'm going to go back and into these sketches again and take some of that same philosophy into something that maybe is a little more tangible here. So let's kind of go through this. There you go. Little thumbnail sketches there. Hey, hey, glad to be here though. Always good to see you, man. Hope to see you at there. Yeah, really cool. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, that it will be, guys. Yeah, little elevation study. There it is. Just little thumbnail sketches, putting it all together. Draw through this guy, get that to connect just a bit here. Oops, get this back in place here. There we are. Again, little thumbnail sketch, maybe some cargo bags or backpacks and so forth. Just putting all this application, for example, putting this action, this material into some form of action when we begin to look at some of these shapes, begin to develop that into something that's more product based. I thought we just kind of wrap it up with things like that nature today, where you actually do take some of this stuff and just for what it's worth, let's just finish a little thumbnail sketch here. Just one little idea. Real gesturely, nothing really pressure wise here, just little thumbnail sketches. And there's a little pass at just putting it all in action here. Um, Kind of fun stuff to just let's go back and review some of where here, some of these sketches. Go back and make sure we get this all set up here and review. First thing we did was just go back in, and again, the premise of today was just sketches looking at form studies. And what about, as I said earlier on in the stream, and I really take some time almost weekly, go through exercises like this, where I just lay down geometric solids, begin to play through some of the form. What do I add this shape to it? What do I cut into it? What do I add onto it? How do I graph that form to it? So it keeps me fresh in terms of when I go into product development or working with client-based pieces. If they apply, we can go back to some of these vocabulary pieces and let them work for us. So there was phase one that we started with right there, first set of passes with a black pen. And the phase two, just really quick 30-second sketches, a minute or so to get things done. And just looking at, again, shape, how to break it up, where to go negative, where to go positive, how to add things on and take it from there. So very interesting set of circumstances. So there's the second sketch we put together, the second plate. Then we moved into the third plate, or again, open a little more, a little less organic, a little more sheer, some rounder things are in here, obviously. We're in a rectangular format to break those forms up a little bit to kind of look at what's taking place. So that was the third plate that we did. Then we work into this, we developing some series in terms of putting together ideas of some of the shape of, back to more rectangular pieces, breaking up the forms again, adding on things, cutting into it and graphing things around it. So it's just a real, almost a melodic change of pace from one surface or one geometric solid to another, one platform to another. Then the last one we did was this guy right here, just putting in some practice, a little, maybe some backpacks pieces. We're looking at some of the shapes we developed here, for example, out of this guy here. Maybe we take a look at, where's that one? I was looking at something like this, where you start to look at this and begin to apply that into that shape, just extend that shape down and add something to it, for example, to get a backpack. And there's another way to look at this too, in terms of maybe getting into some texture and detail changes. Maybe it's some of this stuff here going back into something like this, but it's rounder. So you begin to change the module a little bit, which I think keeps it all very healthy, very exciting, and it accomplishes the goal. And that's to just keep exploring shape, keep exploring surface work, keep looking and analyzing at certain things we deal with and work with, and to let them become applicable in time to come when we need them. So pretty interesting. So I just thought we'd take a moment here to kind of back away from all the other rendering and so forth. We'll go back into that some other time in the future streams, but it's nice to kind of bounce back and forth between going into some like really empathic form studies, into shape studies like this, just sketches like this, and then back into maybe a formal rendering and some product work. And I'm gonna get some consignment pieces in here. We'll certainly go back into that and do some very good finished rendering work. That's always looking forward to what the next step or generation is going to become. So thanks very much, Shadow. It's good to have you on board. I know you're busy back there, but really appreciate you taking the time to do so. Again, bottom line for this today is to really look at the quick question, Dr. Contrast, do you know where I can get more details? Yeah, I think the best thing you can do there, Carsonian, is to get a hold of Shadow. He's got all the scheduling worked out. I'll be there as well, hoping to see you. I think if you give Shadow a quick shout, he can give you some idea what the Equinox is going to be entail and what the process is going to be. And I really am looking forward to seeing you there. So that would be my suggestion. Great. And again, Carsonian, thanks for taking the time today. A lot of fun, great lesson in just doing sketches. And again, forgetting about product-based, or giving it a title. What are the solids doing? How do we break them up? How do we graph onto them? How do we develop them? How do we flatter them in space with really quick little 1-minute sketches? So here we are. Yeah, you just got a website from the Shadow Man. That's really cool. So there's your website, Carsonian. We're good to go. Outstanding. So last but not least, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for tuning in today. A lot of fun. Due to some schedule complications, I will not be able to stream next week. And I will, because of some travel plans I cannot break. But nonetheless, we'll be back on board again. I'll try to get something in between, in about a week's time. We'll go through some format work here. I've already got a series of lessons lined up, or streams to line up and work with, so we'll have that all set to go. I want to thank you for taking the time. I hope you have a great day and all the rest of the time that's available to us today. And if you have a moment, you can visit my website at drcontrast.com. Please do so. Interesting things are taking place. Got all that stuff. Hey, thanks very much, Shadow. And also, the neat things on the website coming along. Some lesson plans, for example. Also, if you have any things you want to work with, want me to work with you on, I'd be happy to do that as well. Drop me a note at my email address, and that is Jim at drcontrast.com. I'd be happy to help you. Let me know if I can be of any assistance. And again, to Shadow Carsonian, thanks so much for joining me today. And we'll hope you see you in about a week's time. I wish you all the very best. And never forget to dare to be great, because you are. Thanks very much, gang. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye now.